Hey there, this is Nikki Burnett. My company's Taste Like Nutrition. I'm a functional nutritionist and I provide strategic evidence-based nutritional consulting. Wanted to talk about an article that was just published. Probably you've seen it, but you might not have, so I thought this would be an interesting one for us to discuss. The title of the article is called Weed Killer Found in Granola and Crackers, Internal FDA Emails Show. So let's start at the top or at the bottom. I don't know. Let's talk about glyphosate. What is glyphosate? Glyphosate is a weed killer. It's an herbicide. It's Roundup. So you see Roundup, you can buy it at, Home Depot. You can buy it everywhere. It is a nasty, nasty substance and does a great job of killing weeds, but also does a great job of putting toxins into your soil, into your body, into your dog's feet, into your kid's feet, and on up into the body because it's nasty stuff. It has been shown to be a carcinogen. It is shown to be toxic to the body. It's also a xenoestrogen. If you've heard me talk about xenoestrogens, we'll talk about them real quick. Xenoestrogens are estrogen mimickers. What does that mean? So we have both men and women. We have estrogen receptors all over our body. What happens is we have these estrogen mimickers that come in. That can be lots of different toxins. We can have Roundup or glyphosate, one of them. It can be the chemicals that we use to clean our homes, clean our buildings, put down, their chemical fertilizers and all of these things. So these are estrogen mimickers, and so they bind to these receptor sites. These estrogen receptor sites are natural estrogen receptor sites, and then doesn't allow our own endogenous or our own natural estrogens to bind. So what happens? Well, we end up with too much estrogen. We have a situation of estrogen dominance that can happen in both men and women. I have seen it. I've had several cases of severe PMDD, which is premenstrual dysmorphia disorder, which is just severe PMS, and it is a nasty, nasty thing to deal with. It's because of the severe hormone imbalance. Okay, back at it. So what we're talking about is Roundup or glyphosate from Monsanto is being put on our food if it's not organic. It obviously has the ability to go through the air. It goes into the soil. So one of the things that I want to hit on really quickly so I don't forget is when you're not eating organic food and we have these chemicals, both pesticides, herbicides, that are put on the plant in the soil, the plant takes it up into its every cell, and these toxins are in every single cell of this plant. So these things cannot be washed off. So we have the ability to look at, so EWG, Environmental Working Group, they have the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen, which is a great resource. So if you can't buy all organic, you can still have a good resource like the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen and know which foods, produce, that is, fruits and veggies, that are higher in toxins or lower in toxins. And so you might want to use that as have it, bookmarked on your computer or they have an app for it. And it changes yearly. So that's a good one to know if you're not always buying organic. But remember, the toxins are there in every single cell of that plant that you're putting in your mouth. It cannot go away. And so what is interesting about this article, and bear with me as I'm kind of looking through it and talking to you, but what's interesting is the first sentence says, U.S. government scientists have detected weed killer linked to cancer in an array of commonly consumed foods, emails obtained through a Freedom of Information request. So this is not something that as of yet has been put out there. I don't know if it's trying to be kept secret. I don't know, but it has not been put out into our media, except for there was a request for it because we knew that they started testing for it. Anyway, so what they're finding is the FDA has had trouble finding any food that does not carry traces of the pesticide. So think about this. Think about all of the food that we eat on a daily basis, every day for our entire lives, and we have traces of toxic chemicals that are difficult for us to eliminate. So if you saw my video yesterday, we were talking about nightshades. Nightshades have a natural pesticide in them that helps to protect the plant so it can produce and reproduce, right? So it's natural. Some people don't have the ability to handle this particular toxin in nightshade. So it's not necessarily toxic to everyone, but can be toxic to a lot of people. Now, and so it can create GI issues, it can create joint pain and that kind of thing. So there's the potential, this is not, and I said this yesterday as well, this is not proven at this point. This has only just been observed, I think, clinically for some people that look at genetics. It's something that I try to pay attention to when I'm looking at genetics and working with a client. But hey, Conrad, but what we have, what may be a possibility is when we look at genetics and these certain genetic mutations, for lack of a better word, they're called polymorphisms. What can happen is some of us don't have the ability to deal with herbicides and pesticides well. We don't have the ability to eliminate them. And this is, I mean, you can look at it in this essentially, it's a big report list of polymorphisms that each of us has. And you can see that some people don't do well, don't eliminate well, and react negatively to pesticides and herbicides. I think that potentially, and this was not my idea, this came from a conference that I went to, but I think potentially the nightshades that have this natural innate pesticide in it is maybe what creates a problem for these people that don't handle nightshades. So getting back to my point is there are lots of people genetically, epigenetically, that don't have the ability to handle these pesticides and herbicides. They don't eliminate them well. And so besides not being able to eliminate them well, they sit in our fat cells, they sit in our tissues, and they just create lots of junk as well as being hormone disruptors. And so to sit here and say that these trace amounts of toxins in our food that we have to eat every day, well, we don't have to eat certain foods every day, we can watch what we eat, right? But that this is not creating an issue for people is just asinine as far as I'm concerned. I actually got in a Facebook argument, for lack of a better word, with hey Gabrielle, with a guy that I sort of know, because his comment was that small amounts of toxins, hey Steve, small amounts of toxins in our food is not going to create an issue, and he'd rather have small amounts of toxins than bugs on his food. Seriously? I mean, come on. And so he'd rather have small amounts of toxins than extra weeds. I mean, it's been shown that these fields, their yield is their yield is much lower than what it would be if we didn't have all of this genetically modified junk and all of these pesticides and herbicides. So, sorry, I get off. We'll go on forever about this stuff. But anyway, the point is that they're finding traces in all of our food. And it says here that calls for testing grew after the International Agency for Research on Cancer classified glyphosate as a probable human carcinogen in 2015. Yeah, Gabrielle, it is ridiculous. It makes me crazy that people sit here and think that this, constantly toxifying our food is okay. And then we just put up with it. And so it has been considered a probable toxin, or I'm sorry, carcinogen. This was in 2015. And then so they started doing the testing, which has not yet been released. Let's see, there were, there was some corn that was detected that was over the toxic, over the toxic level. And so there's corn and soy and cotton and, corn, soy, cotton, sorry, I'm missing something. And anyway, those are the foods that tend to be, wheat, tend to be the highest in pesticides and herbicides. Okay, so what they're finding is in corn, so the legal parts per million for glyphosate is 5, and what they're seeing in corn is that it's 6.5 parts per million. That's a bunch. That's a ton. And it just makes me, again, I get a little verklempt because it just makes me nuts that we continue to be okay with this. What else did they say? See, pesticide exposure through diet is considered a potential health risk. Regulators, Monsanto, and agrochemical industry interests say pesticide residues in food are not harmful if they are under the legal limit. Okay, so under the legal limit. And this is for if we have a bite of food or if we have a certain amount of parts per million of this toxic chemical on our food. But again, it doesn't take into consideration the fact that we eat every day, all day long, right? We're constantly eating and putting this stuff in our mouths. And it's in the crackers and the oats and the processed foods and all of this stuff that's not organic. And I'm afraid, really, honestly, that we're going to get to a point to where the way that you know, the environment works, are we really going to be able to keep these pesticides out of our food? I mean, even if it's organic, is this possible? And Gabrielle says, no one's measuring the effects of combination of all the chemicals. It's so true. So yeah, so we've got the pesticides and the herbicides together when this is only talking about herbicides. And then whatever else. They put fertilizers that are made from tires. Gabrielle, do you know anything about this? Fertilizers that are made from tires that's supposed to fertilize our food and grow our food. You know, I don't know where does this come from? It makes me crazy. Okay, so one last thing here says even the low levels of pesticides we're exposed to. Oh yeah, so just cumulative exposure. Okay, so it goes on. This article, I'm gonna post this because I think it's super interesting. It seems that they have the FDA is not wanting some of this information out there. They had to put it out there. I don't really know all the situation, but because of, I think Monsanto is in the middle. I think that Monsanto is in the middle of, let's see, a lawsuit. Let's see, a trial set for June 18th. Let's see. Oh, to talk about the residues in the food. And of course, they didn't want the jury to know that there's this possibility because they didn't want to inflame the jury. Anyway, they also had detected pesticides and herbicides. And anyway, some of the data it seems that they're throwing out because I don't know. I don't want to read into this, but it seems like they don't want some of the information out there. So I will post this. I will let you read it for yourself, and you know, make your own decision about it. But please, if you do anything, know where your food's coming from. If you don't get organic food, which is okay with me, it's expensive because of the government and because it's a regulated, expensive certification that to put organic on your box or on your food, and it makes me crazy. So, you know, go to your farmers, go to your farmers markets, talk to people, know where your food comes from. Grow your own food, for the love of Pete. You know, a lot of us, you know, they have these cool, you know, tall stands. I can't remember what they are called, but they're these tall stands where you can grow food inside. You know, you can grow lettuce and herbs and all kinds of stuff. You know, you can grow small amounts of food in small places. There's so many ways of growing our own food where we know what we're getting from our food and what's being put in it. We can use organic fertilizers and you know, we can compost and do all of these fun things. And I know it can get to be a little bit much, but just think about it. At the very least, read the ingredient labels. Know that just because it says organic on a box, which we want to stay away from boxes, right? That not everything on that box has to be organic. So know what's organic, know it's not. Try to stay away from the box stuff. And, you know, make a stink about this stuff. You know, this is not okay to sit there and poison our people. I mean, we're supposed to be people here taking care of each other, and we're allowing big government, big pharma, big food, big ag, all of these to control, and it makes me nuts, obviously. Sorry, I will stop saying that now. A little bit of a rant. But let me know if you have any questions. You can post them below. Obviously, go to my website, tastelifenutrition.com. Let me know if there's anything other than, you know, what I talk about that you would like to hear about. I'd love to answer questions. And if there are other topics, let me know. So I hope everybody has a great day. Read the article. Let me know what you think. And we'll talk to y'all later on. Bye, guys. Thanks for the input, Gabrielle. March against Monsanto across the country, May 19th. Nice. Okay, so that's from Gabrielle. Everybody, if you're still there, Gabrielle is a partner of mine. She's my health coach, and she is amazing. And so she has been, talking a little bit through this as well. And anytime I work with clients, Gabrielle is on board with me, and she helps work with clients as well. So I do sort of, the labs and the protocols and that kind of thing. And she's really good at the day-to-day helping people, change habits and create plans. But she's also amazing at the labs and the protocols as well. So we make a great team. I'll leave it at that. If you have questions, let me know, and we will talk to you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.